Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Mourn coming up in the next hour. India mourns passing away of former Prime Minister and face of 1991 economic reforms, Dr Manmohan Singh. 7-day national mourning announced. Prime Minister Narendra Modi visits Dr Singh's residence to pay tributes. President Draupadi Murmu leads the nation in mourning. PM Modi says Dr Singh left strong imprints on India's economic policy. United States lauds his role in firming up US-India strategic partnership. South Korea's constitutional court to make a trial of President Yoon Suk Yeol's impeachment a priority. Court says case to be tried swiftly. And in cricket, India bowls out Australia for 474 in the first innings on day 2. Steve Smith scores 140 as India lose quick wickets in the opening session. India mourns the demise of former Prime Minister Dr Manmohan Singh, who passed away on Thursday night. President Draupadi Murmu led the nation in paying tributes to the former Prime Minister. She arrived at Dr Singh's residence at 3 Motilal Nehru Marg and paid her respectful homage to the former Prime Minister. Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar also reached his residence to pay his tributes to the former Prime Minister. Prime Minister Narendra Modi paid his last respects to former Prime Minister Dr Manmohan Singh at his residence 3 Motilal Nehru Marg in the national capital. In a post on X, the Prime Minister said, India will forever remember his contribution to our nation. Other leaders, including Home Minister Amit Shah, along with Union Minister and National President of the Bharatiya Janata Party, JP Nadda, paid their respects to the departed soul at his residence. Earlier in a social media post on X, Prime Minister Narendra Modi shared photographs of his meetings with Dr Singh. The Prime Minister wrote on X, and I wrote, India mourns the loss of one of its most distinguished leaders, Dr Manmohan Singh ji. Rising from humble origins, he rose to become a respected economist. He served in various government positions as well, including as finance minister, leaving a strong imprint on our economic policy over the years. His intentions and interventions in Parliament were also insightful. As our Prime Minister, he made extensive efforts to improve people's lives. In his condolence message on the demise of former Prime Minister Dr Manmohan Singh, Prime Minister Narendra Modi talked about his inspirational life and the contributions he has made to the country's progress.
पूर्व प्रधानमंत्री डॉक्टर मनमोहन सिंह जी के निधन ने हम सभी के हृदय को गहरी पीड़ा पहुंचाई है। उनका जाना एक राष्ट्र के रूप में भी हमारे लिए बहुत बड़ी क्षति है। विभाजन के उस दौर में बहुत कुछ खोकर भारत आना और यहाँ जीवन के हर क्षेत्र में उपलब्धियां हासिल करना ये सामान्य बात नहीं है। अभावों और संघर्षों से ऊपर उठकर कैसे ऊंचाइयों को हासिल किया जा सकता है, उनका जीवन ये सीख भावी पीढ़ी को देता रहेगा। एक अर्थशास्त्री के रूप में उन्होंने अलग अलग स्तर पर भारत सरकार में अनेक सेवाएं दी। एक चुनौतीपूर्ण समय में उन्होंने रिजर्व बैंक के गवर्नर की भूमिका निभाई। पूर्व प्रधानमंत्री भारत रत्न श्री पीवी नरसिम्हा राव जी की सरकार के वित्त मंत्री रहते हुए उन्होंने वित्तीय संकट से घिरे देश को एक नई अर्थव्यवस्था के मार्ग पर प्रशस्त किया। प्रधानमंत्री के रूप में देश के विकास में और प्रगति में उनके योगदान को हमेशा याद किया जाएगा।
India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi has always held high regard for former Prime Minister Dr Manmohan Singh. PM's speech in Rajya Sabha in February this year stands out as an example. It was when the upper house met to pay gratitude to the members who were retiring, a list that also included Dr Singh. He recalled how Dr Singh, despite health challenges, came to cast his vote, setting an inspiring example of responsibility.
जिस प्रकार से उन्होंने अपने जीवन को कंडक्ट किया होता है, जिस प्रकार की प्रतिभा के दर्शन उन्होंने अपने कार्यकाल में कराए होते हैं, उसका हमने एक गाइडिंग लाइट के रूप में सीखने के लिए प्रयास करना चाहिए। मुझे याद है उस सदन के अंदर लास्ट कुछ दिनों में एक वोटिंग का अवसर था। विषय तो मैं छूट गया मेरा, लेकिन पता था कि विजय ट्रेजरी बैंक की होने वाली है। अंतर भी बहुत था, लेकिन डॉक्टर मनमोहन सिंह जी व्हील चेयर में आए, वोट किया। एक सांसद अपने दायित्व के लिए कितना सजग है उसका वो उदाहरण है, वो प्रेरक उदाहरण था। इतना ही नहीं, मैं देख रहा था कभी कमिटी के चुनाव हुए, कमिटी मेंबर्स के, वो व्हीलचेयर में वोट देने आए। सवाल ये नहीं है कि वो किसको ताकत देने के लिए आए थे, मैं मानता हूं वो लोकतंत्र को ताकत देने आए थे।
Meanwhile, the Union Cabinet, chaired by the Prime Minister, passed a condolence resolution in memory of Dr Manmohan Singh, former Prime Minister. The Cabinet paid homage to Dr Singh by observing a 2-minute silence. A 7-day state mourning has been declared till the 1st of January 2025. During the mourning period, the national flag will fly at half-mast throughout the country. The national flag will fly at half-mast in all the Indian missions and high commissions abroad till the 1st of January 2025. Dr Manmohan Singh will be accorded a state funeral. On the day of the state funeral, a half-day holiday will be declared in all the central government offices and central public sector undertakings. Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge mourned the loss of a lifelong senior colleague, Dr Singh. In a post on X, he wrote that with the passing of the former Prime Minister, India has lost a visionary statesman, a leader of unimpeachable integrity, and an economist of unparalleled stature. Leader of opposition in Lok Sabha, Rahul Gandhi, also reached the former Prime Minister's home to pay his tributes. Congress MPs Sonia Gandhi and Priyanka Gandhi were also in attendance. Condolences have poured in from across the globe following the demise of Dr Manmohan Singh. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken offered his condolences to the former Indian Prime Minister, calling him one of the greatest champions of the US-India strategic partnership. Leaders from countries including Afghanistan, Maldives, Russia and Canada expressed deep grief over Dr. Singh's passing, highlighting his contributions and warm relations with their nations. Dr. Manmohan Singh, who was also known as the architect of India's economic liberalization, passed away on Thursday night at the age of 92. He breathed his last at the AIIMS New Delhi emergency ward after being in critical condition. He retired from the Rajya Sabha in April 2024. Despite his age-related illness, Dr. Singh attended some sessions of Parliament in a wheelchair. A rare display of dedication by the 92-year-old academician and economic strategist. Here's a look at the life and times of late Dr. Manmohan Singh.
Manmohan Singh, a pioneering economic administrator, statesman, and India's third longest-serving Prime Minister, passed away at the age of 92. A towering figure in India's public life, his remarkable journey from humble beginnings to shaping the nation's economic and political landscape will be remembered for generations to come. Born on the 26th of September in the year 1932 in a village in Punjab province of undivided India, Singh excelled in studies despite limited resources. He won a place at Cambridge University before heading to Oxford, earning a doctorate with a thesis on the role of exports and free trade in India's economy. His book, India's Export Trends and Prospects for Self-Sustained Growth, was an early critique of India's inward-oriented trade policy. His academic credentials were burnished by his years on the faculty of Punjab University and the prestigious Delhi School of Economics. In the year 1971, Singh joined the Government of India as an economic advisor in the Commerce Ministry. This was soon followed by his appointment as the Chief Economic Advisor in the Ministry of Finance in 1972. Among the many governmental positions that Manmohan Singh occupied were the Secretary in the Ministry of Finance, Deputy Chairman of the Planning Commission, Governor of the Reserve Bank of India, Advisor of the Prime Minister, and Chairman of the University Grants Commission. He was nominated to the Rajya Sabha for the first time by the Congress Party in October 1991, 4 months after he became the Union Finance Minister. He represented Assam for 5 terms in the Rajya Sabha and shifted to Rajasthan in 2019. His last term that ended in April this year. He was the Prime Minister for 2 successive terms. One of the biggest highlights of Singh's regime was securing the India-US civil nuclear agreement that opened up civilian nuclear cooperation. Manmohan Singh led the UPA government delivered about 8.5% GDP growth. The 2 UPA regimes led by Manmohan Singh are credited with the launch of social welfare initiatives such as guaranteed job schemes, Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee, and the right to education for every child. Dr. Manmohan Singh's years as Prime Minister were, however, marred with scams like 2G, CWG, and coal block allocations. Despite the late hiccups, Singh's image as a clean leader remained untarnished. He will be remembered as the architect of India's tryst with economic liberalization and sustained economic growth. Bureau Report, DD India.
And my colleague Anil Thomas now joins us. Anil, tributes are being paid to late Dr. Manmohan Singh at his residence. President, Vice President and Prime Minister were there too, paying tributes to him. How is the distinguished leader being remembered by his family and admirers particularly?
Well, good afternoon, Moon. Well, clearly a sad day, especially when it comes to the demise of the former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh. But his legacy lives on, and I think that's what is the mood that reflects, especially outside his house, where every political leader cutting across party lines who's visiting to pay their last respects, talking about the legacy that he leaves behind. And I think the world leaders, especially all the world leaders from Angela Merkel to other world leaders like Barack Obama, who have spoken highly or poured their tributes, especially on Dr. Manmohan Singh, clearly leave an indelible mark, especially when it comes to the moments where he not only helped India but also helped the world when it comes to the global recession that the world faced in 2008. So all in all, one remembers the former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh for two things. One, the liberalization that he brought about in 1991, and secondly, the legacy that he leaves behind with his work. The footprint that he leaves behind, clearly something that India can still learn a lot from.
Yes, Anil, when a journalist had asked Dr. Singh that why did he not write a memoir, he said that because truth hurts. But he also believed that history will be kinder to him than the contemporary media. Would you say that he's been proven right?
Well, very much so, Mourn. If one takes a look at all that has been spoken about Dr. Manmohan Singh, many would believe that, time and again he has spoken about it. And he was, if one may put it very simply, he was an administrator par excellence. But in that, rough and tumble and drop world of politics, it's sometimes difficult to survive. He managed to do that for 10 brilliant years, leading the nation. And not only in India, but also across the world, especially when it comes to geopolitics with our neighbors, the approach that he had, exemplifies, his good work. It's not that, many would remember, irrespective of the scams that his government faced, he's still remembered as a clean person with a clean image. And I think that speaks volumes about the person and all that the former Prime Minister had to say, especially when it comes to the media. And I remember very clearly, the one question that he felt in his 10 years as Prime Minister that he was not able to bring in rein in was especially the rising expenditure for the common man. I think that fair admission by a Prime Minister while in chair clearly speaks volumes about the man and the work that he did and the legacy that he leaves behind.
Anil, is he being remembered also for the person that he was, the financial challenges that he had faced when he was studying abroad? There was a time when, as per the biography that was written by his daughter, they had to survive on chocolate on days and not eat. Is he remembered for the person that he was, also for delivering as a technocrat like you referred to, and emerging as a consensus politician with strong convictions, a rare skill also of not letting ego and verbosity get the better of him, which is difficult, mostly we see vis-a-vis politicians, isn't it?
Well, exactly. When one takes a look at his journey right from the time that he started, with the Planning Commission, not only the Planning Commission, even before that, especially when it comes to becoming the governor of RBI and then helping India come out of the 1991 phase, where we are close to 1 billion in forex reserves, which were not enough even to last for a few weeks. And, the liberalization that he brought about then changed the way the world looked at India and India looked at the world. And I think those moments, especially define the change, the transformation that India underwent. And it was a big challenge to bring about that. And not only that, when you fast forward it to the 2004 to 2014, especially the tight maneuvering that he had to do with so many coalition partners there in the government, and every string being pulled, and every second day you would feel that there could be something going wrong with the government. In that tough situation, the way he managed to run the government for 10 brilliant years clearly speaks all about him. His family too, have many wonderful memories. I still remember that interview that was done, especially with his family, with his wife and his 3 daughters, that appeared on national television. Clearly indicates or clearly reflects or shows, the human side of the Prime Minister, and his admission on various issues where he went wrong clearly showed the human side of him. And I think that reflects not only in his work, but also, as he is no more with us, we still talk about it, clearly reflects that, he was a man who preached and did what he preached.
Leave it at that. Anil Thomas reporting from outside the residence of former Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh in New Delhi. Let's get perspective now on Dr. Manmohan Singh's legacy with Ashok Tandon, senior journalist. Mr. Tandon, pleasure to have you on DD India. Dr. Manmohan Singh, we know, was a path-breaking reformer who ushered in the liberalization era in 1991 and ended the License Raj. Also under his stewardship, several rights-based legislations were enacted by the government. Would you say that he was a man of many legacies?
Certainly, but may I share with your viewers, some of the anecdotes of his relationship with the former Prime Minister, Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee, because I worked with Mr. Vajpayee for 6 years in the PMO, and I have a couple of anecdotes. Firstly, the title of Bhishma Pitama of Indian politics to Vajpayee was conferred by none other than Dr. Manmohan Singh. And another anecdote which I remember is when Mr. Narasimha Rao had appointed Mr. Vajpayee as leader of the opposition to head the Indian delegation to the Human Rights Commission in Geneva. Incidentally, at that time, Dr. Manmohan Singh was chairman of the South Commission in Geneva. And I remember one day Dr. Manmohan Singh came up to Mr. Vajpayee. Then Mr. Vajpayee was leader of the Indian delegation by virtue of being the leader of the opposition. And he said, Mr. Vajpayee, me and my wife are great fan of you. We would love to invite you for dinner at our residence along with the Indian delegation. And this was in 1993, I can imagine, 92, 93. So all through, and when the transition took place, Mr. Vajpayee lost the power in 2004, and Dr. Manmohan Singh was appointed as the Prime Minister. He came to see Mr. Vajpayee, and he was received by Mr. Vajpayee, and the two had a very fruitful and wonderful exchange of pleasantries, etc. And these things. So I think Dr. Manmohan Singh, no doubt, was a great economist, a reformist, and all his reform policies which he initiated under the Prime Ministership of Narasimha Rao were pursued vigorously by Mr. Vajpayee during his regime, heading the NDA government, although he had to face criticism from his own quarter while pursuing the policy of liberalization. But the path which India had undertaken under Narasimha Rao and then Dr. Manmohan Singh as the finance minister, the country has never looked back. And see the dividends which the country is now reaping. Indian economy is booming. It's the 5th largest economy today. So all credit goes to that particular era and the visionary approach of Dr. Manmohan Singh to economic liberalization.
Dr. Tandon, taking that point further, did his steering of the landmark Indo-US nuclear deal also give a glimpse of Dr. Singh the politician, showing that he knows the art of realpolitik too?
Certainly, if I am not wrong, when the Indo-US nuclear deal was being discussed and signed, the then BJP, headed by Mr. Vajpayee and Mr. Advani, they supported this deal, whereas the UPA alliance partner, they left the government, and that's why So you can imagine, Dr. Manmohan Singh was a visionary, and he had personally approached the opposition leaders for a support to the Indo-US nuclear deal, which the opposition did, particularly the BJP did, but not the left parties. So I think what you're saying is right, that apart from economic reforms and liberalization, the Indo-US nuclear deal was also signed and negotiated during his prime ministership.
Yes, taking the point on liberalization that you made earlier further, it's interesting that Dr. Singh believed in the importance of the free market, but at the same time he redefined the role of a welfare state when he was the Prime Minister. Did he break the long-held belief that economic reforms and social welfare cannot go hand in hand?
Unfortunately, in those days, because India had gone through that era when we were in the Soviet bloc during Mrs. Indira Gandhi's regime, so it was a fashion to criticize free market, liberalization, all these things. And incidentally, the left-wingers, they had a lot of clout within the media as well. So therefore, to talk about liberalization was a taboo. Nobody wanted to, do that. And there comes Dr. Manmohan Singh, and without, fearing any opposition or criticism of being a right-winger and all that, he initiated this policy, and he was ably supported by Dr. P.V. Narasimha Rao as the Prime Minister. That's why 1991 year is considered as a path-breaking year, when India marched from out of the left bloc to the path of economic liberalization, and country has made huge strides following that policy, which no government since then has been able to, counter it or put the things back on the, policies back on the back burner. So I think country has benefited tremendously, immensely by the vision of Dr. Manmohan Singh. Also, I think the credit must go to P.V. Narasimha Rao for picking up Dr. Manmohan Singh from teaching profession to bringing him into the mainstream of politics, appointing him as the governor of Reserve Bank, South Commission chairman, and then the finance minister again. Then he becomes the prime minister.
Yes, and taking this point further, there is definitely an unparalleled imprint that Dr. Manmohan Singh made on India's economic policy. But as condolences pour in from across the globe, and we earlier saw an image of Barack Obama and Dr. Manmohan Singh together. Now, Blinken has said that Dr. Manmohan Singh is one of the greatest champions of the US-India strategic partnership. Obama had called him a man of uncommon wisdom and decency. Did his tenure as PM also see a turning point in India's foreign policy, from a gradual departure from the Nehruvian non-alignment policy to India forging closer ties with the US on a more equal footing? That's what the Indo-US nuclear deal helped do, isn't it?
Certainly. That's why I am repeatedly saying that it was P.V. Narasimha Rao's team, which included Dr. Manmohan Singh as the finance minister, RBI governor. That was the era where all these changes started taking place. And I know for certain P.V. Narasimha Rao was criticized within the party, Congress party also, for pursuing the policy of economic remarks, liberalization and economic reforms. But it was a team which initially started in 1991 and then vigorously pursued by Dr. Manmohan Singh as the Prime Minister also. Here I must say that the Srimati Sonia Gandhi, who was the leader of the Congress party, also as the chairperson of the UPA, she fully supported Dr. Manmohan Singh. Although there were criticism of Dr. Manmohan Singh from within the party, but the fact remains, so long as he enjoyed the support and confidence of Srimati Sonia Gandhi, he had no problem. So that's why the 10-year tenure of Dr. Manmohan Singh, and in 2009, an incumbent government getting more seats than what they got in 2004 was also remarkably something which surprised many political pundits, and particularly taking place in the backdrop of the Indo-US nuclear deal. So he was, I think he never bothered about being criticized because he was not a politician of that type. So he was an economist, he was a statesman, he was a visionary. So he never bothered about his criticism and took the criticism in his stride. And as we have been watching since morning on channels about his Urdu poetry, so he, I think he was, the whole country has been proud of him. And now today, since he has gone, the whole nation is paying tributes to him, irrespective of political affiliation.
Yes, Mr. Tandon, it will be befitting to ask you at the end a question that I asked my colleague Anil Thomas, that when Dr. Singh was asked why he did not write a memoir despite a prolific career, he had said that truth hurts. But he also believed that history will be kinder to him than the contemporary media. We've seen that era of 10 years as Prime Minister of Dr. Manmohan Singh. Has he been proven right, would you say?
I think so, yes. I think he must have been in pain when he had to use this phrase that history would be kind to him, because some of his contemporaries within his own party were not kind to him. I'm sorry to say on this occasion, but the whole world knows how one of his or couple of his cabinet decisions were torn apart by his own party's stalwart, who happens to be the leader of the opposition today. And that was a very sad commentary. No Prime Minister had been humiliated like that. But the fact remains that he steadfast. He never bothered about it. There were calls from within, maybe perhaps his own family, that he should quit, but he didn't. So I think the whole Congress party would also, pay him tribute, and he would be remembered as one of the successful prime ministers who happen to be from the Congress but not from the Nehru Gandhi family.
We leave it at that, Mr. Tandon. Appreciate you joining us and sharing your views on the legacy of Dr. Manmohan Singh. Still to come on DD India News Hour. Temperatures dip in India's national capital region amid widespread rainfall.
(2024), the year the world woke up to climate's harsh realities and powerful progress. Let's explore the stories that shaped the year 2024. The Amazon, the parts of the North America burned brighter than ever this year. With wildfire and catastrophic weather on the rise, are we prepared for what's next? India's energy transition is inspiring the world. As we wrap up, it's clear that 2024 has been a year of immense climate challenges, but also of remarkable progress.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour with me, Mourn Bhattacharya. India's national capital witnessed widespread rainfall in the wee hours of Friday morning, bringing a noticeable drop in temperatures and intensifying the winter chill. The active western disturbance and its interaction with easterly winds is causing light to moderate rainfall or thunderstorm over northwest and central India, including the national capital region, Delhi. The India's Met Department stated that the lowest recorded temperature is 12 degrees Celsius. With dipping temperatures, people are advised to brace for colder nights ahead. The air quality of New Delhi has also improved because of the rain. Meanwhile, the Met Department of India has issued a yellow alert for multiple districts of Maharashtra also, indicating possibilities of thunderstorms and light to moderate rainfall from the 26th of December to the 28th of December. It also forecast that cloudy weather conditions will subside from the 29th of December, bringing clear skies to Maharashtra. With dry weather and the return of northerly cooler winds, temperatures are expected to drop significantly, setting a chilly tone for the new year across the state. And my colleague Siddharth Bharadwaj now joins us from New Delhi. Siddharth, how has the rain impacted normal life in Delhi NCR and elsewhere in the country, and what is the weather forecast for the days ahead?
Hi Mourn, a very good afternoon to you. First of all, I would like to tell you that it's been just a minute ago since the intensity of the rainfall has significantly increased, and earlier it was just slight drizzle, but now it is heavily raining, and Delhi woke up to light drizzle, slight drizzle, and also a foggy morning. You're right, the normal life has been disrupted to an extent, and especially that is applicable to the office goers and all those people who have their businesses from one place to the other, and people especially who are taking public transport, they are actually having trouble to deal with this weather, because because the cabs are not being booked, and they are using metro and autos, and they are not being booked. So yeah, definitely normal life has been disrupted to an extent, Moon. As far as your second question is concerned, the weather forecast, the Met Department, I would also like to tell you that whatever is happening today is not coming as a surprise, Moon, because few days ago the weather office has predicted that on 27th and 28th of December there will be heavy showers, and hailstorm is also expected. So for today, to be very specific, for another 1 hour or two, heavy showers have been predicted by the weather department, and they are also saying that for the next 2 to 3 days, people have to brace themselves up for some heavy showers. There's a chill in the air. The air is, there's a cold in the air, and some extra layers of covers have come out, and also heaters again have started. So yeah, all in all, we can say definitely that the temperature has dipped, and like you were also mentioning that the lowest temperature was recorded at around 12 degrees Celsius. So yeah, this particular weather has disrupted normal life to an extent, and air quality, Moon, has improved. It is still in the very poor category though, Moon, because earlier it was in severe category categories, but because of the showers, the category has improved and it has come to very poor category. But still, it's not that good, because the good AQI is between 0 to 50 Munmun, and here it is around 386 or 389, which although considered as an improved air quality as compared to before, but it's not that good air quality. So yeah, some people are enjoying the weather, some people are having trouble because of the weather, and yeah, the Wet Department, like I was just mentioning, has said that for the next 2 to 3 days, the chill in the air is likely to increase. Back to you.
We leave it at that. Siddharth Bharadwaj reporting from New Delhi. A look now at the latest weather updates from around the world. From severe storms in the US Pacific Northwest to volcanic activity in Hawaii, here's what's happening. A relentless series of atmospheric rivers is slamming the United States Pacific Northwest with strong winds, heavy snowfall and coastal flooding. Avalanche warnings and travel advisories are in effect, with holiday plans likely disrupted. The severe weather is expected to persist further before calming after Sunday. In Hawaii, satellite images reveal the spread of lava around Kilaue's crater following its eruption on the 22nd of December. While lava flows have diminished, the U.S. Geological Survey warns of potential resumption in activity. The volcano remains under orange alert as volcanic gases pose ongoing risks. Indonesia is sending humanitarian aid to Vanuatu, an island country located at the South Pacific Ocean, after a devastating 7.3 magnitude earthquake affected 80,000 people. An advance team from the National Disaster Mitigation Agency is already on site, preparing logistics for aid delivery. The assistance includes rescue teams, clean water, health services, and rebuilding vital infrastructure. In the latest update on South Korea President Yoon's impeachment case, South Korea's Constitutional Court will make the trial of President Yoon Suk-yeol's impeachment a priority and will move swiftly in its proceedings, a justice said on Friday at the first hearing on the suspended leader's short-lived martial law. The push to impeach Prime Minister Han Duck-soo, who has been acting president since Yoon was impeached on the 14th of December, has thrown South Korea's once vibrant democratic success story into uncharted territory. The court completed the first hearing in the case on Friday and set the 3rd of January for its next hearing.
권한대행에 대한 탄핵 소추는 내각 전체에 대한
We earnestly request the reconsideration of impeachment motion against acting President and Prime Minister Han Duck-soo. We sincerely hope that further political uncertainty, which threatens our economy and national security, will not be aggravated. And once again, we all are calling for the cooperation of both ruling and opposition parties so that the government can focus solely on the economic and public welfare.
안보를 위협하는 더 이상의 정치적 불확실성이 가중되지 않
South Korea's acting president faced an impeachment vote on Friday as the country struggled to shake off political turmoil sparked by his predecessor's martial law declaration. South Korea's opposition Democratic Party leader Lee Jae-myung said that the party will go ahead with the plan to impeach acting president as per the mandate of the people. The main opposition Democratic Party had threatened to impeach Han if he did not immediately appoint 3 justices to fill existing vacancies at the Constitutional Court. If the opposition succeeds in its bid, South Korea will mark the first time South Korea has impeached an acting president. Han Duck-soo took over as acting president from President Yoon Suk-yeol, who was suspended following a parliamentary vote over his move to impose martial law on the 3rd of December. Finance Minister Choi Sang-mok would step in as acting president in Han's place. Holding an emergency press conference with cabinet members, Choi pleaded against the opposition's action. South Korean police on Friday conducted a raid on a state property linked to a private presidential affairs, aiming to gather crucial surveillance footage. This action is part of an ongoing investigation into impeached President Yoon Suk-yeol's brief imposition of martial law earlier this month. The inquiry extends to Yoon and several other officials, reflecting heightened scrutiny over recent government actions. Azerbaijan has set up a special commission and sent its delegation to investigate causes and all details of plane crash in Kazakhstan. Following the incident, President Aliyev returned home from Russia, where he had been due to attend a summit of CIS countries' leaders on Wednesday. On Thursday, Azerbaijan observed a day of mourning for victims of passenger plane crash. 14 Azerbaijani citizens who survived the plane crash near Aktau in Kazakhstan arrived in Baku on Thursday. 7 of the survivors were transported to hospitals by ambulances. Another 7 injured, and the bodies of 4 victims arrived at Baku on a second plane. The rest of the Azerbaijani citizens who survived the crash will remain in Kazakhstan, where they will undergo medical treatment. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has urged Mozambique's political leaders to ease tensions that led to civil unrest linked to October's disputed election. A recent prison riot in the country's capital, Maputo, resulted in 33 deaths and 15 injuries, while Mozambique's top court decision on Monday confirming a long-ruling party Frelimo's victory in the election sparked fresh nationwide protests by opposition groups and their supporters who claimed the vote was rigged. The UN chief's spokesperson said in a press briefing that the Secretary General is concerned about the post-election violence, which has resulted in loss of lives and destruction of public and private property.
The Secretary General is concerned about the post-election violence which has resulted in loss of lives and the destruction of public and private property. He urges all political leaders and relevant national stakeholders to diffuse tensions, including through meaningful dialogue, legal redress, refrain from the use of violence, and redouble efforts to seek a peaceful resolution to the ongoing crisis in a constructive manner, which is essential to the collective future of Mozambicans.
In the latest escalation in West Asia conflict, Israel struck multiple targets linked to Houthis in Yemen, including the Sana'a International Airport, leaving at least 6 people dead. In addition to striking the airport, the Israeli military said it also targeted military infrastructure at ports on Yemen's west coast and 2 power stations. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu vowed to continue its mission until it was complete. Defense Minister Katz added that Israel will continue attacking Houthis to remove threats to the state of Israel.
We have just seen a precise operation by the Israeli Air Force hitting specific Houthi targets in Yemen at the airport, at the port. As we said, whoever hurts Israel, we will hurt him. We will hunt down all the Houthi leaders, hit them as we have done elsewhere. No one will be able to escape Israel's long measure. We will attack them in order to remove threats to the state of Israel.
Israel's retaliatory strikes come as Houthis have repeatedly attacked the country with drones and missiles since the start of the Israel-Hamas conflict in Gaza. The United Nations has expressed concerns over Israel's latest airstrikes in Yemen, warning of further regional escalation, with the spokesperson of the UN chief, Antonio Guterres, saying that the airstrikes on Yemen's Sana'a International Airport, the Red Sea ports and power stations were particularly alarming.
The Secretary General remains deeply concerned about the risk of further escalation in the region and reiterates his call for all parties concerned to cease all military actions and to exercise utmost restraint. He also warns that airstrikes on Red Sea ports and Sana'a Airport pose grave risks to humanitarian operations at a time when millions of people are in need of life-saving assistance.
Meanwhile, the head of the United Nations World Health Organization, Tedros Ghebreyesus, said that he and his colleagues were traveling through the Yemen's Sana'a airport on Thursday when it came under attack. In a post on X, Tedros said that the airstrike hit as he and his colleagues were due to board a flight from Sana'a airport. Still Still to come on DD India News Hour. 2 sailors killed in Sydney to Hobart yacht race.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the economic brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
You're watching DD India News Hour with me, Mourn. Let's take a look at some other stories making news around the world. In the heart of Brussels, the Ukrainian village Christmas market has become a festive haven for both locals and visitors. The Christmas market, which will run until the 5th of January, offers traditional dishes like borscht and vareniki, along with handmade souvenirs, and showcases Ukrainian culture. On to some business news now. Japan's government has approved a record 115.5 trillion yen or $730 billion budget for the next fiscal year starting April 2025, significantly ramping up spending on social welfare and defense. The budget includes 8.7 trillion yen for defense spending, with social security spending allocation of around 38.3 trillion yen, up from 37.7 trillion in the previous year. In a briefing document, the Defense Ministry said that Japan was facing its toughest and most complex security environment since the Second World War, repeating a warning from Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba. This increased defense spending will attract recruits to Japan's self-defense forces and improve relations between the US and Japanese militaries with locals in Okinawa. The budget green-lighted by the Cabinet on Friday now needs to be approved by the Parliament, and the ruling Liberal Democratic Party and its smaller coalition partner Komeito will need cooperation from opposition parties, having lost their majority in an October snap election. Despite leading the coalition to its worst general election result in 15 years, Ishiba has stayed on as the Prime Minister. Asian stocks wobbled on Friday while the dollar was steady, keeping the yen rooted near 5-month lows in thin year-end trading as investors looked ahead to 2025. Over in stocks, MSCI's broadest index of Asia-Pacific shares outside Japan was slightly higher at 574.88, on course for nearly 9% gain this year. Japan's Nikkei rose 0.77% due to the weak yen, set for 19% rise in 2024. China's blue chip CSI 300 index was little changed in early trading, while Hong Kong's Hang Seng index was 0.12% higher following a holiday on Thursday. On Friday, yen was little changed at 157.8 per dollar, taking its losses for the year against the dollar to over 10% in 2024, its fourth straight year of decline. Dubai's ambitious winter festival program is illuminating the emirate with daily fireworks displays and transforming the Expo 2020 site into an enchanting winter city. The cornerstone of the celebrations is the daily fireworks spectacle at Dubai Festival City, while Hatta Hills add a natural touch. The Dubai Shopping Festival also showcases daily drone shows combining technology with fireworks. At Expo 2020, the Winter City offers a North Pole themed market, a traditional Christmas market, and daily shows at Al Wasl Plaza. The festival also includes live performances, family activities, and diverse food options, making it a major attraction for both locals and tourists. Through this festival, Dubai continues to solidify its reputation as a global entertainment hub, showcasing a unique fusion of traditional holiday celebrations and cutting-edge technological innovations. Two sailors were killed in separate incidents in the Sydney to Hobart yacht race, organisers and local authorities said on Friday. This is the first loss of life in the prestigious ocean race since 1998. Race organisers in a statement said that both crew members died after they were hit by the sail boom, a horizontal pole which holds down the sails and swings depending on the direction of the wind. Sports news now. Australia's space attack wreaked havoc on India's top order on Friday, putting the visitors under pressure on the second day of the fourth test. Rishabh Pant and Ravindra Jadeja were at the crease at stumps. India reached 164 for 5 at stumps on day 2 after losing 3 quick wickets late in the day. Opener Yashasvi Jaiswal displayed resilience with a high-quality knock, playing fluently off the front foot before being run out for 82. Virat Kohli was caught behind by Alex Carey of Scott Boland for 36. Boland then dismissed Akashdeep for a duck, compounding India's troubles. Earlier, India bowled out Australia for 474 in their first innings. Steve Smith scored his 34th Test century before being dismissed in bizarre fashion. The 5-match series remains tied at 1-1. Australia's Steve Smith slammed his second century of the series against India on Friday, reaching 3 figures on day 2 at the Melbourne Cricket Ground. Smith played a well-constructed innings, hitting 9 fours and 2 sixes in the 167 ball knock. Smith surpassed England's Joe Root, who has 10 centuries against India, for the record. Smith's 11 tons have come in just 43 innings, while Root required 55 innings to reach his tally. This record moves Smith alongside 4 other players in the all list of century makers, including Sunil Gavaskar and Brian Lara. Indian Grandmaster Arjun Erigaisi opened his campaign with 4 wins and a solitary loss at the World Rapid Chess Championship in New York. Erigaisi has been tied at 5th place with compatriot Ronak Sadhwani, who beat one of the pre-event favourites Alireza Firozja of France. Defending champion Magnus Carlsen endured a frustrating day, managing just 1 victory. Carlsen drew 3 games and suffered a loss against Russian Denis Lazovic. With 8 more rounds still to come, Murzan Volodar of Russia, Shant Sargsyan of Armenia, and the American duo of Daniel Naroditsi and Linnea Dominguez Perez share the lead on 4.5 points apiece. Sports governing body World Boxing has added Asia as the newest member, and India will play a pivotal role in the growth and development of the Asian boxing. The Boxing Federation of India will have 7 key positions in the newly formed organizational structure of the body. President of Boxing Federation of India Ajay Singh has been appointed as a board member. Indian officials will be included in all key commissions, ensuring a decisive voice in policy making and strategic direction. Tokyo Olympic medalist Lavlina Borgohain will be part of the newly formed Athlete Commission. After conceding early, Liverpool came back to beat Leicester City 3-1 at Anfield on Thursday and opened a 7-point lead at the top of the Premier League. Leicester took a shock 6th-minute lead through Jordan Ayew, but lived a charmed life until Cody Gakpo equalised on the stroke of half-time. After the break, Liverpool came out strong and quickly took the lead in the 49th minute thanks to Curtis Jones. Mohamed Salah then sealed the win with an excellent goal in the 82nd minute. The win stretched Liverpool's unbeaten run in the league to 13 games and kept them at the top of the standings with 42 points. Indian multi-language art house drama All We Imagine Is Light is generating buzz globally. Set in the financial capital of Mumbai, the film follows the emotional journeys of 3 women as they navigate loneliness, love and life in the bustling city. The film has just made history, becoming the first Indian production to earn a nomination for Best Director at the Golden Globes, which marks the start of Hollywood's award season next month. All We Imagine Is Light also won the prestigious Grand Prix Award at the Cannes Film Festival earlier this year. The film also made it to the top position of former US President Barack Obama's list of favorite movies of 2024.
Actually, I started working on it as a short film. So I was going to make it for my final year as a student when I was still at FTI. But then when I started reading more about, when I'm meeting more people and I was setting it in a hospital, I realized that I needed to make a much longer film. And then finally in 2022, I managed to get the funding for the film and started the pre-production. So although it was a long journey, it was a bit on and off. And so I would say about 5 years we took to find the funding and to do the pre-production, to do the casting and just get the film going. We finally shot it in 2023 monsoon season.
That's it then in this edition of DD India News Hour, but do share your thoughts with us on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. This app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. You can scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. This is Munmun Bhattacharya from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour. Namaskar.